Right now at 6, a thief steals a car with a toddler still inside.
And was able to open the driver's side door and yell that there was a kid in there.
Why that didn't stop the suspect and how the 2-year-old made her way home. Plus, a new call from the mayor to downtown businesses.
Bring back your employees a minimum of 20 hours per week.
Why he says it's good for the Rose City's heart. And later,
Bo hasn't even flinched, and it's I'm absolutely astounded.
a legendary Ducks quarterback weighs in on the current Heisman hopeful. We're live in Las Vegas on the eve of the Pac-12 championship.
And I see this little figure. First I was like, is that a loose dog? I was like, oh my gosh, it's a child.
Good evening, everybody. That is the reaction from a neighbor who spotted a little girl in Northeast Portland after a car thief drove away with a 2-year-old in the back seat. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm David Mulco. The ordeal started with an ordinary morning, a family getting ready for work and school, and in the blink of an eye, everything took a terrifying turn. Kyle Aboshi spoke with the little girl's family and joins us live in the newsroom. Kyle.
David, the little girl is doing okay after a neighbor found her running barefoot down the street in her pajamas. The 2-year-old is back home. Her parents say she's been playing with toys and seems unfazed after a frightening experience.
I was parked pretty close up.
Will Stevens admits it all happened in a matter of seconds. Someone stole his car that was warming up in the driveway. As the suspect pulled away, Stevens opened the car door and yelled, "There's a kid inside." His 2-year-old daughter was in the back seat.
We were terrified. I mean, I was hopeful that they were just trying to boost the car, and that they would recognize that it's a much different situation.
A frantic Stevens and his wife called the police. Nearby, a neighbor spotted a car driving recklessly near Northeast San Rafael and 113th. Moments later, that same neighbor noticed the little girl.
And I see this little figure. First I was like, is that a loose dog? But the way it was just coming straight, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a child.
She pulled over to help.
I was like, I didn't know what happened. She had no shoes on. Her feet were red, so I was kind of holding her feet a little bit.
Stevens reunited with his daughter.
She had a really scared look on her face. She was shaking, but I think that was more of a result of she was out walking without socks.
Police put out this image of the stolen vehicle, a 2017 dark blue Subaru Outback with license plate 639 JVQ, and investigators canvassed the Northeast Portland neighborhood. The incident reflects Portland's ongoing issue with stolen vehicles. Although there's been a decline compared to last year, so far in 2023, Portland police data shows there have been almost 7,000 stolen vehicles citywide. Police still have not found that stolen Subaru Outback, and the father admits he really didn't get a good look at the thief. The most important thing, he says, is that his daughter is okay.
Thank goodness for that. Thank you, Kyle. To weather now, with things feeling, shall we say, a little wintry on this final day of November. In the Portland metro, it's been a cold, steady rain. Those snow levels have been dropping, with rain changing to snow in the Dalles this afternoon and into the gorge as close as Multnomah Falls. Higher up, though, it's been snow all day at Government Camp, Highway 35 on the east side of the mountain, and that is the case for all the Cascades passes. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. Matt, it sounds like this is just the beginning here.
Especially for the rainfall that's coming our way. The Cascades are going to get hammered with heavy snow, then eventually wet snow, then eventually rain. But this is still good news for ski season, getting things rolling. This is the scene right now. This is live from the ODOT camera at the intersection of Highway 35 and the road that goes up to Mount Hood Meadows. It's been doing this for several hours now. Meanwhile, over at Timberline, same story. You can see the snow flying here. And here we can tell you there's been 4 inches of new snow during the day so far today, but that's going to be inching up in the next couple of hours. There should be a little bit of a break tonight, too, and that's going to allow the snow that's been at those low elevation places that you mentioned, David. The Dalles, even over by Multnomah Falls, a couple of the protected valleys up in Clark County have seen some snow. But look, the back edge of the steady precipitation has already moved east of I-205. So those pockets of cold air, the snow is going to end, and eventually by tomorrow, it's going to be all rain in the valleys, and eventually after that, it's even going to be raining up in the Cascades itself. So we still have an east wind. That's why we have these pockets of cold air, Multnomah Falls and up in Clark County, that have been insulated from the warm air aloft and allowed the snow to get all the way down to the river level there. But the south wind winds will take over, and that's going to be an end to the low elevation snow. There are no watches or warnings in the gorge, but there sure are in the Cascades. Winter storm warnings beginning tomorrow morning for the next system that's coming on shore. There's actually a winter weather advisory for the system tonight as well. And all of the Oregon mountains except the Coast Range under some sort of winter weather advisory or warning. And this is why. Look at these snowfall totals as we go through the weekend. This is through Saturday night. That's over 2 feet in Mount Hood, over 30 inches at Mount Bachelor. We'll likely end up with 30 inches or so on Mount Hood. And then we're going to get rain falling on top of that. But not all will be lost. It's going to be very difficult to melt all of this new snow, even with rain coming our way. We will need to watch the rivers, though, David, because all this valley rain's got to go somewhere. So more on that in a bit. Back to you.
Some incredible numbers. Thanks, Matt. We'll see you in a few. Let's get to your headlines this evening. Peace Health has reached a deal with more than 1,700 workers. The union says the deal includes the largest raises ever. This is video from October when employees went on a week-long strike. It involved workers in the tech, service, maintenance, and lab units. It also forced Peace Health to bring in temporary employees to fill the gap. The union says workers will vote on the new contract over the next couple of weeks. A former Gresham homeless outreach staffer is now facing additional criminal charges. Kevin Dahlgren was arrested last month accused of theft, identity theft, and abusing his official position. The 6 new counts filed this week fall into those same categories. Dahlgren resigned from the city of Gresham earlier this year after police began their investigation. The Oregonian reporting that Dahlgren allegedly used a city credit card to buy gas and groceries for himself, then recorded them as supplies given to other people. We are getting our first look at how the man accused of kidnapping a woman in Seattle and locking her in a cinder block cell in his Klamath Falls home allegedly tried to break out of jail. Yeah, that was a clue there. We reported on this back in August, but just got these photos from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. They show that makeshift tool investigators say Negassi Zuberi used to try and escape. You can see it looks like an orange plastic sandal there with a screw driven through it. Investigators say Zuberi used it to chip away at his jail cell window. He remains in jail on both state and federal charges. He's due in court next Monday. And Oregon's top elections official says she will not remove former President Trump from the Republican primary ballot in Oregon unless a court orders her to do so. In a statement today, Secretary of State LaVon Griffin-Valade says she does not have the authority to determine the qualifications of candidates in a presidential primary. Lawsuits have been filed in several states seeking to remove Trump from the ballot, claiming that the 14th Amendment bars him from office for his alleged actions surrounding January 6. Griffin-Valade said today's decision only applies to the primary, not to the general election. All right, let's talk about public schools now. And while the Portland teacher strike may be settled, we found out today about a third of teachers across Oregon will be bargaining for a new contract this school year. And it seems both unions and districts have kept close tabs on how negotiations played out in the Rose City. Thomas Schultz joins us live. Thomas, what did they tell you today?
Well, David, teachers in Hillsborough, Salem, Kaiser, Beaverton, and other school districts across Oregon are looking for a lot of the same things Portland teachers went on strike for. One of the biggest is a wage hike, though the biggest issue that we heard about is smaller class sizes. The head of the Beaverton Teachers Union told us they want smaller classes in order to give students a better education. And teachers in Beaverton and other school districts have been closely watching the Portland teacher strike, where educators received an almost 14% wage hike over 3 years, some class size thresholds, and more teacher prep time as well. Now on Tuesday, Portland Public School Board member Andrew Scott said the deal was unaffordable. He called on the state for more funding, and Salem Kaiser Superintendent Andrea Castaneda said her school district is facing a major budget shortage. She plans to cut $30 million, including $30,000 of her own salary. Castaneda says the state's funding of education is, quote, archaic and inequitable. And these concerns come while the district is in negotiations with teachers at a time when experts say many educators don't feel like they have the support to adequately do their job.
The biggest issue is that I hear of is that people feel like they can't do the job that they got into this profession for.
Now, Governor Tina Kotek has said flatly that something needs to change, and she plans to address that in 2025 in the legislative cycle when these education funds will be once again up for debate, David.
Yeah, Thomas Schultz outside PBS headquarters tonight. Thank you, Thomas. I'll come back to work in downtown, buy lunches at local joints, and do some shopping on the streets. That is essentially the message today from Portland's mayor, saying it is a necessary step to help revitalize the central city. Let's bring in Ashley Grams now. Ashley, what makes this different is the mayor is mostly focusing on people who work for private businesses.
Right, David. The mayor already brought back City of Portland employees in person this spring. So 7,000 employees already working downtown at least 20 hours a week. But now the mayor says other employees need to get downtown, and those are private sector employees. He says this is about a lot more than just office productivity. The mayor says having more people downtown will bring more clientele to businesses, restaurants, and bars. But he also believes that more visitors will make the streets safer.
And we also know from a public safety perspective, if you have more activation, more people walking about, more eyes on the streets, that also improves the public safety situation for everybody. I get asked all the time, well, what can we do to help? This is a big way that if people so choose, they could help the city of Portland. Help us reactivate it. Bring your folks down at least a couple of days a week and encourage them to shop locally.
Mayor Wheeler said today that safety is still their top priority and that Portland police and state police will be patrolling the streets downtown together for at least the next few months. David?
Thank you, Ashley.